next author is a lifelong resident of Birmingham. He is the award-winning author of 16 novels, plus numerous short stories. He's a founding member of the Horror Writers of America. The Los Angeles Times Book Review reported his ability to frighten the reader with a minimum of gore and a maximum of suspense has earned him a place in the modern horror pantheon with Stephen King, Dan Simmons, Dean R. Koontz, and Anne Rice. And go off script for just a moment, his book, Boy's Life, is on my top 5 all-time favorite novels. Please welcome Robert McCammon.
Thank you very much. It's so good to be here. I want to thank Alabama Bound for inviting me and having me here, and thank you for being here also. I was listening to the panel that was just that we'd had just a little while ago, and it amazed me to hear the different opinions of how you write a book. They were talking about how some kind of use it, it's a mystic experience for some, others do an outline. But the thing that came across the most to me was how excited everybody is to be a writer. And it really is a wonderful thing. Now, I can't imagine anybody who sells hedge funds or in the banking business or in the stock market, they're excited about their work and that they make money. It's after the work is done that they get excited. We get excited about our creation. And it's a wonderful thing. You know, I think I'm probably one of the most blessed people in the world. I think all writers are, because you are free. A writer is free. Of course, you do need money. You know, you got to have the money to live. But the act of creation, of being able to glide in and out of time, move among different characters, create people, create situations, and actually, my joy of writing is that it's a book that I want to read. If this is a book I really want to read, I'm going to be the first to read it. And so to me, it's a very exciting thing. It's a wonderful life. It's a two-edged sword in a way, though, because though it is a wonderful life, it can be the most difficult thing you can imagine, because when you get in trouble with a book, you get in trouble with a character, nobody in the world can help you. So you're really on your own, and you've got to take care of it yourself. Having said that, I think I've done 17 novels, I've been doing lately a series set in the 1700s involving a young man who's a detective. He is a problem solver, as they put it, in New York. It's set in 1703. So this is the first book I did in the series is called Speaks the Nightbird. This is the second book in the series, The Queen of Bedlam. And the third book in this series is called Mr. Slaughter. And that book I finished last summer. I believe it's going to be published this coming, I'm not quite sure, but this next year. But anyway, I want to read you a little bit of an unpublished novel. This is the first time I've read this to anybody, so I'd just like to read it for you. And let me set it up for you a little bit. In this book, there's a character, my lead character, Matthew Corbett, goes to an insane asylum. And actually, the book is about the Queen of Bedlam is a woman who's in an insane asylum, and he meets a character named Slaughter. And the man who runs the insane asylum says, "Stay away from this man because he's very dangerous. But I may need you at some time to take this man from here to New York, to put him on a boat and send him back to England." So anyway, that's what happens in Mr. Slaughter. That Matthew goes to take Durant's Slaughter from the insane asylum to New York and put him on a boat bound for England to be tried for murder. So he's a complete psychopath, Mr. Slaughter. Durant's Slaughter is a complete 1703 psychopath. So what I'm going to read here is he has escaped from Matthew. He has thrown Matthew and Hudson Greathouse, his companion, into a well and almost killed them both. He has killed a reverend, and he's taken the reverend's identity. And now he's on the run in Pennsylvania, and Matthew is after him. Matthew has found an Indian, an Iroquois Indian, to help him track Mr. Slaughter across the Pennsylvania wilderness. So this chapter begins when Mr. Slaughter, in the guise of this reverend, has gone into a farmhouse out in the woods. "So," said the reverend, "you've had a good year then?" "Yes, sir, very good," Peter Lindsay answered. "A bumper crop of corn, apples aplenty, and pumpkins still on the vine. You must have seen them out in the field." "I did." "Peter, you're a blessed man. To have such a farm as this and such a lovely family. I was speaking with a fellow not long ago about greed. You know, how greed can lead a man into the valley of destruction. It's good that you're not greedy, Peter, and that you're satisfied with your position in life." "I am, sir, thank you." "Well, we certainly need the glories of the farm, don't we? Just as we need," he paused, tapping his chin with one forefinger which had a long and ragged nail. "The glories of heaven?" asked Peter's wife, Faith, who was preparing the midday meal at the hearth across the room. Her kitchen was a glory of its own, clean and tidy, with the walls of pale yellow pine wood, an orderly arrangement of cups and platters on shelves, and in the arched fireplace itself, the frying pans, privets, spider skillets, iron pots, bake kettle, pot hooks, and other vessels and tools that kept a home in operation and the family fed. "Exactly that," the Reverend agreed. The youngest child, Robin, had been helping her mother. Now she came toward the Reverend, who sat at the head of the table nursing a cup of cider, and showed him something she brought from the other room. She was 8 years old, blonde-haired, and very proud of her small embroidered pillow, which indeed had upon it the representation of a robin perched on a tree branch. "I made this myself," said the child. "You did? How wonderful. Now, you're saying your mother didn't help you one bit. Is that right?" "Well," the child grinned. Her eyes were a bright, warm blue like her mother's. "She helped got me started, and she helped got me finished." "Oh ho! But I'm sure there was a lot of work between starting and finishing." He handed the pillow back. "Ah, what's this then?" The middle child, the 13-year-old tow-headed boy named Aaron, had come forward as well to show off his favorite possession. "A fine collection," said the man, as he took a small white clay jar and admired the bright variety of different colored marbles within. "How many do you have?" 22, sir. "And you use them for what purpose? Games?" "Yes, sir, but just to look at, too. I think any boy would like to have these." "Yes, sir, any boy sure would." "Aaron," said Faith Lindsay, "don't bother Reverend Burton now." "He's no bother." "Not at all. Here you are, Aaron." He returned the jar of marbles and then lifted his bearded chin slightly to gaze at the eldest child, who stood next to the fireplace in the process of helping her mother cook the cornbread, the beans, the baked apples, and the piece of ham for this special occasion. She was 16 years old, with the pale blonde hair of her mother and sister, the same lovely oval-shaped face and high cheekbones, and the lustrous dark brown eyes of her father. She stared fixedly at Reverend John Burton as she paused before spooning the beans into a bowl. "Would you like to show me something, Lark?" he prodded. "No, sir," came the firm reply, "but I would like to ask you something." Sitting opposite the Reverend, her father, a wiry man in his late 30s, wearing a blue shirt and tan-colored breeches, his face lined and freckled by the sun, and his scalp bald but for reddish-brown hair on the sides and the solitary thatch at the front, glanced quickly at her, his thick eyebrows uplifted. "Go right ahead, please," said the Reverend in a gracious tone. "Why are your fingernails like that?" "Lark," Peter frowned, the lines of his face deepened into ravines. At the same time, Faith shot a stern look at her daughter and shook her head. "It's all right, really it is." Reverend Burton held his hands up and stretched the fingers out. "Not very attractive, are they? It's a pity I couldn't keep my nails like a gentleman ought to among the Indians. My travels among the tribes unfortunately did not include weekly use of scissors. I presume you have a pair here that I might use later?" "Yes, we do," Peter said. "Lark, what's gotten into you?" She almost said it, but she did not.